Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, Donald Trump is pissing off a lot of people lately. And I'm not talking about just, normie, everyday Americans. I'm talking about the people who helped to put him in office. So, you guys may have heard some of this already. These are some juicy stories. The brocasters, people like, Joe Rogan, people like that, they're turning on Donald Trump, and it's primarily over his handling of the Epstein files, but also immigration is becoming a really hot button topic. And these are the people who put him in office. These are the people who helped him win re-election and got back into office last year. And another high profile MAGA influencer outside of the broadcasters, they are saying, I'm probably not going to vote next year. So these are people who were hardcore MAGA, who, let's be honest, if he just does one little thing to make it better, they'll flip on a dime and they'll go running back to him. But these are people who have been total loyal foot soldiers, and they are turning against him over various things. This last one that I just mentioned, which I'm going to get into the details in just a second, they're looking at some of the things Donald Trump is doing as a massive betrayal. So I have all of those details and more for you today. Before I dive in, please do me a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button below this video. It is free. It really, truly helps the show, tremendously. You have no idea how much it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Also, liking the video, sharing it with other people is a major way that you can help out. Also free for you. So anything you guys can do, I really appreciate it. So here is the deal. Here's why Donald Trump's 2024 coalition is starting to fall apart. So I've already shared with you guys how podcaster Andrew Schulz had a talking heads awakening. It's basically what I call it. His was over the Epstein files in particular, but he has some other issues with him. And I call it the talking heads awakening because it's, oh my God, what have I done? Like, anyway, more recently, the Trump administration pissed off podcaster Theo Vaughn. You guys may have seen this. They used a clip of him. It was a joke that I guess he's in his telling, somebody put a camera in his face and said, hey, will you make a video for a friend of mine? I'm going to send it to him saying, hey, heard you got deported, too bad. So he did that as a joke, and they used it in one of their MAGA deportation porn videos. So he was pissed off. He went on Twitter. He told them, hey, didn't authorize this. Take it down. Send me a check. And then more recently, he talked about it on his show, and he was visibly upset. He explained that, hey, my father's an immigrant. Something I'm very proud of. I keep his papers in a frame or something like that. So, he was saying, this really upset him that DHS just used him in their video like this, and he called it, quote unquote, fucked up. So Vaughn has made it clear, doesn't agree with the level of cruelty being shown to immigrants. He said, I think on Twitter it was, I have a very nuanced view of immigration, so, this isn't it. And then as with Andrew Schulz and Joe Rogan, Vaughn has called out the Trump regime for refusing to release the Epstein files. Speaking of Joe Rogan, though, check this out. So this is what he had to say last week on his show, and I'll explain more after I play the clip for you. Let me turn on my volume.
I did not ever anticipate seeing that on TV on a regular basis.
Me either, man. Me either. It's shocking.
I really thought they were just going to go after the criminals. I really thought there was enough gang members and enough people, MS-13 members and whatever they were looking for, that they're wanted. They would go after those guys. If you've been here for 20...
Yeah. So Rogan was talking, as you saw, there was another guy there. He was a fellow comedian, and no, you're not imagining things. They both had on priest costumes. I'm assuming those were like their Halloween costumes. But in another show, I think it was last month, Rogan went off about the whole Jimmy Kimmel issue. And he told his audience, quote, the companies, if they're being pressured by the government, and if people on the right are like, yeah, go get them, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy for supporting this because this will be used on you. So this is why I tell people, if you haven't listened to anything more than like a few selectively edited Rogan clips, you're probably not aware that he is fairly progressive on a lot of issues. You know, he was a Bernie supporter. That's why his support for Trump makes absolutely no sense from a policy perspective. So anyway, another broadcaster who is now turning on Trump is Aiden Ross. I'm sure you guys will remember him. I did a video about him before the election. He is dumber than a bag of rocks. This is the guy who gave Trump a custom Tesla Cybertruck, gave him a Rolex watch before the election. And, you know, he had Trump on his show. He interviewed him before the election, got millions and millions of views. But anyway, in a recent live stream, Ross told his audience, quote, I think I have something here about it. Yeah. He said, quote, can I tell you guys something? Now that I look back on it, I really, really wish I never got into like politics. So many people just tie me to it. And no matter what they do, no matter what, they don't even get to know who I am. I really, really understand other people's side. And as I'm getting older, I don't think I'll ever care enough again for any other politician ever in the future. At the end of the day, humans, we're all humans. I mean, okay, as you get older, you care less about what's going on, who's governing our country, really? That's what the wisdom of age brings you. Anyway, all of this tells me that Donald Trump's presidency is going down in flames. As much as these podcasters influence their audience also influences them. Because if Trump's presidency was going as good as he claims it is, none of these people would be speaking out against him publicly, right? If the mood of the country, if the vibe in the country was, oh my God, this is awesome, American revival, you know, golden era, as Donald Trump claims, then these guys would just shut up. These guys would just go along with it. You know, so many of them go with the vibes of the day. And the problem with Trump and in Trump world is they're high on their own supply. They actually believe that Twitter is representative of the entire country. The majority of the comments on Twitter are people who are perpetually online, who don't look at polling, who don't look at focus groups, who are completely in their right-wing bubble. And they're all like, hey, hell yeah, I love this. This is exactly what I voted for. Like, they don't get it. There is such a major disconnect with real life and what the majority of Americans are thinking and feeling about Donald Trump and his presidency right now. That's why they're going to be completely and totally blindsided in the midterms, right? As long as the midterms are free and fair, which I have another story to share with you today that is a little concerning and speaks to that. But if the election is fair in the midterms, they are going to be absolutely floored. And that actually helps Trump. It's sick but it helps Trump because then he can go, oh, see, everything pointed to the Republicans winning in a massive landslide. And look at the Democrats cheated again. And they're going to believe it because they were in this bubble, because they didn't get the real information. So anyway, like I said, I have more on that in another video today, but another MAGA influencer who is finally pissed off at Trump is loony Laura Loomer. So Loomer, as you guys probably know, she is a self-avowed, proud Islamophobe. So she is furious right now about the news that Donald Trump is allowing the Qataris to build a facility at an Air Force base in Idaho. So in one post, Loomer wrote in part, and I think I have this too, she said, quote, "No foreign country should have a military base on U.S. soil, especially Islamic countries. I have never felt more betrayed by the GOP than I do now, watching Islamic jihadists get away with implementing Sharia law in the U.S., and now they are getting their own air base where they will train to kill Americans." I mean, this woman is insane. She is truly insane. Like, she is the poster child for why you need therapy if you grew up in a difficult household. With what I've read about her childhood, she needs serious, long-term, possibly inpatient therapy, and she has never gotten it. Anyway, I mean, where are they doing Sharia law, Laura? Tell me. And then she also posted, quote, "I didn't vote for the Islamification of my country. If the GOP is going to allow Muslims to have military bases on U.S. soil when they know these Qataris are funding Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, then voting in 2026 is a waste of time." She also posted, quote, "I didn't vote for Sharia law. I'm not voting in 2026. So, I mean, here's the thing. Yes, Qatar did fund some of the 9/11 terrorists. That is true. She is absolutely right about that. That is not Islamophobic to say that, but to say that all Muslims are jihadists and terrorists and, oh my God, hair on fire, Sharia law, and like, this woman is just a nut. Most of the replies that she received, surprisingly, if they were from MAGA men and women who were saying like, oh, calm down, don't hand the Democrats a win, you trust Trump, blah, blah, blah. I mean, think about the hypocrisy, right? If any Democrat had said, we're going to allow the Qataris to have a facility on one of our U.S. air bases, these people they'd be acting like Laura Loomer. Their heads would be spinning off their shoulders. It would be nonstop on Fox News. But because it's Trump doing it, most of them are okay with it. There were some Trump supporters, though, who agreed with Loomer. This must have freaked out the Trump regime because the clown and accused rapist who's running our Department of War kind of sort of tried to walk it back a little bit. So Pete Hegseth posted this on Twitter after Laura Loomer's rants. He said, "Important clarification. The U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, including today's announced cooperation with F-15QA aircraft. However, to be clear, Qatar will not have their own base in the United States, nor anything like a base. We control the existing base like we do with all partners." So, kind of sort of denial, right? I mean, it's just semantics. right? This to me is just semantics, because here's what Hegseth said in his original announcement. He said, quote, "We're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base." So base, facility, again, tomato, sounds like semantics, right? In any case, this is not going to fly with Islamophobes like Loomer. And yet, they were okay with Donald Trump taking bribes from Qatar. I mean, we all know he got that nearly $500 million jet from the Qataris, just gave it to him, right? And then check this out. This was reported back in April. It was reported that Donald Trump, his company, so this was headed up by Eric Trump. Here he is in the picture that you see with these Qataris. They got the Qataris to allow him to build a golf resort in their country. It's going to be this massive thing. And it's being built by a Saudi Arabian company. It's just unreal. Like, is MAGA really that naive? Like, did they really think that the Qataris were doing all of this out of the goodness of their hearts, like for nothing? You know, and with rare exception, I didn't see MAGA influencers upset about any of this. I didn't see them upset about, you know, this security guarantee that you see here on your screen that Donald Trump gave them. I'm sure you guys have all heard about this. You know, Trump gave them a guarantee against attack. Like, this is similar to the Article 5 protection, the guarantee that we give to our closest allies. So this means that our American troops can be called upon to protect Qatar. I could have sworn that Trump said something about America first. Right? Now we're committing not only our resources, but we're committing American lives to a foreign country. Like, this is crazy. And this is all because they gave Trump bribes. They bribed him with the jet. They bribed him with this golf resort that they're allowing him to build. I mean, again, if Joe Biden, if any Democratic president pulled this shit, this would be the top story 24/7 on Fear News Network. This would be never-ending news. And every MAGA cult member would be losing their freaking minds. But because it's Trump, no. Trump can never be wrong, right? It's either crickets and they don't address it at all, or it's, oh, well, he's listening to the deep state. This is all because of the deep state, blah, 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 blah. And this is because of people in his ear. And, you know, because he's so weak. Like, they love to talk about how strong he is. Nobody pushes Trump around. He does whatever he wants. But then when it comes to him fucking up, when it comes to him doing something they don't like, oh, it must be they're twisting his arm. They're forcing him to. It's the deep state working against him again. Like, make up your minds, you freaking hypocrites. Like, is he the toughest, most badass, you know, bulldozer, pit bull president you've ever had? Or is he just this weak little frail, you know, meek man who sits in the corner and allows people to drag him around by the nose? Make up your minds. So anyway, guys, that's where things stand. And personally, I hope he continues. I hope he continues down the path that he's on, because he is losing people. And I am seeing it in every focus group. I am seeing it in the polling. Again, with all of these podcasters, people who were fully behind him, helped him win, and they're just not happy with what they're seeing. I don't know if Donald Trump is just not aware of all of this, or if just his personal interest with Qatar and, you know, with maybe these Maybe these companies that are building all these prisons out and, I don't know what they're doing for Trump, but maybe they're doing something for him. I mean, they're making a fortune off of his presidency. So who knows? Maybe they're greasing his palm. Maybe he owns stock in their companies. I don't know. But for whatever reason, he is either ignoring or he's unaware of the backlash within his own ranks. So, all right, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe if you have not. If you can donate, truly, truly appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.